love authentically, and lead relationally. As always, this is Samuel A. Bakutana, your host today, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker, and author. And by the way, just about 1 week ago, my 17th book was born, Blossom in Your Job and Business. So you're very welcome. I'm the CEO of Inspired Leaders International and the Provincial Fathers Union President. Today, we are talking about financial investment tips, particularly for young men. A man in his family is seen as different things. To begin with, a man is seen as a protector of his family. He has to protect them financially, protect them, spiritually, protect them physically, protect them emotionally, to mention but a few. That man, secondly, is seen as the priest of the home. He has to lead his family into spiritual edification. Number 4, the man in his family is seen as a prophet, a person who speaks into the future of each member of the family, beginning with his wife down to his children. But also, a man is seen as a promoter, somebody who lifts up his own family wherever he goes and ensures that his family has a good reputation. But finally, number 5, a man is a provider. Providing time, providing a listening ear, but of course, providing all these other basic necessities of life: food, shelter, clothes, to mention but a few. So today we want to look at that particular thing that is important in the area of being a provider. And somebody made a statement and said that it is so much better and even easier to mentor a young man than it is to wait and mend a broken old man. So today, talking about provision by the family leader, we are not going to wait for the family leader to have the family before we can teach him how to provide for his family. Today, we want to meet the family leader before he even gets a wife, before he even gets a family. So today we are talking about financial investment tips for the young men who may not even be married yet, or who may be young married men. Financial investment tips. And to have this conversation with me today in studio is none other than a young man going to speak to the young men and their fathers, Mr. Nelson Agaba. Nelson, my brother, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel Bakutana.
How are you doing?
I am good.
You're looking sharp. Who designs you these days? There must be somebody I haven't known that you haven't brought to the table officially, right?
God's grace. Yeah.
How have you been, Nelson?
Good, thank you. Yes.
We have taken some good time without seeing each other. It's good to host you today.
Most obliged.
Yeah, gives me an opportunity to see you, but also to empower the audience that we have today watching.
Most obliged. Thank you.
Yes. So go right ahead, please, and introduce yourself to our viewers so that they know who is this handsome young man.
Thank you for those interesting and beautiful words about me. Briefly, I am Nelson Agaba. I come from Kamwenge district, Chibari East constituency, and I am also a national leader, specifically in the Alliance for National Transformation, a values-based political organization that looks forward to transform the political culture of our country, Uganda. I'm also a lawyer.
What do you do there in ANT?
I am the National Youth Coordinator of the Alliance for National Transformation. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, you were going to say you are a youth coordinator and you're a lawyer.
Yes, I have a career background. I'm a lawyer, but also a tax consultant, the areas of business investment. So much interested in sharing this with my audience and the people that I normally meet in spaces, in different forums.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
And you know, you've talked about Chibale East constituency. I know that you are a former member of parliament contestant for Chibale East. Just curious, what inspired you to take that move as a young man before we get into the financial issues?
Yeah, well, you know, everything, governance is something that is very, very, very key and important.
But that's a big thing. We used to know that those are things for the very, very old people, just like books. We used to think that people who write books have to be in the 60s, 70s. Now you as a young man also, matters of governance, we often think they are for people in 50s, 60s.
Not at all.
What inspired you?
The major inspiration was to ensure that Nelson Agaba is part of a critical team that thinks and works together to transform our country, Uganda. And transforming our country, Uganda, we are looking at, you know, having economic development, where we are having good social services, provision of social services to the communities, health, education. We are looking at enhancement in our backbone, which is agriculture. Yes. We are looking at, you know, in health sector and many other things. So majorly, governance is something that is big, but the inspiration is to see an equitable delivery of services to all regions, to ensure that there is fairness in everything that happens. You know, in the running of the affairs of the state, for the benefit of the citizenry. All right. And we must have young men and women of values at the center, you know, in position of influence, to ensure that they also put a block and give direction on where they see and wish to have their country go.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Indeed, young men and young women need to start to think about big things and start to think about how they can be part of the transformation of their country. So, getting down to our topic, we are talking about financial investment tips for young men particularly. So, what is the importance of financial education in the life of a young man? Is this something a young man should be giving attention to?
Exactly. For starters, we need to understand that young people, wherever we are, and Uganda, we are blessed that, you know, statistics are that below the age of 35 years, we are 78%.
That's true.
But also between the age of 18 and 35, that is 21.3%.
Yes, of the population.
Yes, of the population. Whereas the children between the age of 0 to 18 is 58%. Making a total population of Uganda, you know, 78% of the total population of Uganda is below the age of 35 years.
The young men and the young women we are talking about. The young men and young women
in this country.
Yes.
And given that background.
So that means for us to put it into perspective, because, you know, sometimes these statistics and these numbers may not easily be understood by some people. Yeah. So when we say 78% of Ugandans are 35 years and below, 35 years of age and below. It means that every time you meet 10 Ugandans, if they were evenly distributed, every time you meet 10 Ugandans, 8 of them are 35 years and below.
Yeah, true. So, and a young population is always so, there is so much potential with young people. They are too swift in ensuring things work out because there is so much pressure. Sometimes dangerously swift. You know, so much pressure when you hear about the rates of unemployment. Within the young people, you're looking at 13% unemployed, you know, rates of unemployment. Yes. And even those that are employed, 11% are unemployed. Those who are also employed, you find that 31% of the employed young people are in fields not of their profession. They are, you know, somebody studied, let's say, business administration, and is in a, you know, in a different thing altogether. Now they are secretaries, they are administrative assistants somewhere. You know, they are messengers in some offices. Yes, you get it. So, but the point I was trying to
they are standing for MP. By the way, what's your professional background? Did you say law?
Yes, I'm a lawyer. But
okay, all right.
Okay, yes. So a young population of this nature. One, there is potential to exploit. There is so much innovation, there is so much creativity with the young people, but also that innovation, that creativity needed to be guided.
Yes.
Because most of us, as young people, we always have so much big dreams. We think we can achieve it tomorrow. And
tomorrow is so far, today.
Even today.
Now.
Yeah. Because of so much pressure, of lack of unemployment and all other things. So young people try to think so loud to achieve things in a short term.
Yes.
And by that, the challenges that happen is that most of the young people that start businesses, they crash. And you know, that's why you have heard that Uganda is one of the best countries with emerging businesses.
Yeah, actually, it ranked number one, the number one entrepreneurial country in the whole world. But also they said that close to 90% of those businesses that start don't live to see their first birthday.
Exactly, and that's what I want to really talk about today. That one, you find there are simple tips that we need to understand as young people. Of course, there is this ability of thinking we can do things on our own and create magic. But there are realities in business. There are realities in business.
So in other words, those realities are the ones you're saying it's important to know them,
yes.
And we know them through financial education.
Exactly. And number one, we need to know, as you earn money, you know, Mr. Sam, if you have 50,000 in your wallet,
yes,
or on your bank account, you have only two options. You can either spend it or invest it.
Either spend it or invest it. Okay, I was going to say you can also save it, but then I remembered you said it's already on the bank account.
It is already, you know. So if you have it saved, yes, you can decide to withdraw, invest, or withdraw,
and
spend,
consume.
And consume.
Hit it on the head and
you know?
Say I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, so those are things, that's the power we have. So the way you use your money is also important.
Yes.
But there are other things, you know, you need to understand issues of budgeting. How do you now save, that is saving, and also budget of the money you have. How much will I save? How much will I spend?
Yes. They say that those things are for accountants, not for young men who are not accountants.
You see, it goes back. What's your vision? What is that the driving factor? You know, all of us have dreams. So your dream, you can have a dream if you have a dream of investing in a long term or even short term, and you have 100,000. One, you know that there is a particular, for example, you're saving to procure a certain machine if you are into processing, for example.
My daughter wants to make ice cream, so she's looking for the 7 million shillings to buy the ice cream machine.
Like that, you know, beautiful young daughter.
And she's 13 years old.
Looking, she's saying, I must get 13 million. You know, or even 7 million.
7 million.
7 million to get an ice cream. If you give her 50,000, she will say, Daddy, you know, I need to buy an ice cream machine. And guess what? She may not even eat a penny. She will invest it.
She already has about 500,000 now.
You get it? Then two, somebody who has no vision of whether there is to make whatever business they want to make. That 50,000, first thing is, you need to go to, you know, Cafe Sherry, Cafe Javas. Let me go and eat ice cream.
Instead of save for the machine to make
ice cream and, you know, make dividends on that. So
that reminds me of what I heard recently. It was Chris Oyakilome who was saying, I hear people talk about this design, this you know, I want to put on this design, I want to put on this design of the shoes, this design of the shirt, this design of the coat. Where are your own designs?
You get it. So
you want to eat ice cream but not to make
ice cream. I will just say this. Yesterday, I normally enjoy some good, sometimes over the weekend, you know, there are good places where there is some good oldies and...
Where you often go alone and you don't let me know good places.
And I was shocked. One of the popular TV presenters and TV hosts, there was a show after the performance, says, I am going to sell cookies.
After the
after the presentation, you know, somewhere.
After the program?
No. After the performances.
Okay.
Where I was.
Okay.
And says dear colleagues, I am coming to you to sell cookies. Guess what? I was just counting, supported by his wife. If this is not any announcement, I was amazed by what Simon Kagwanjala was doing.
He even mentioned
Together
the
with
name.
his wife. Yes. He inspires, I got inspired.
Yes.
He was selling cookies, 10,000 each pack of cookies.
Great.
I doubt, I guess he even sold about 100 packs. Because,
Wow.
business, investment, thinking, so all that we are going to get into. What I was talking about, there are aspects of you make your money,
Yes.
you decide how to use it. Make the money, budget for it, save some, spend some. Then see, where do you need to invest?
Yes.
Because also when you're talking of investment is driven by major, about 6 factors. One, your goal. Because you may have 10 million,
Yes.
for example, and you're thinking, what should I invest? What is your goal? Do you want to earn quick dividends, quick money?
Yes.
For example, to support your family or to support yourself as a young man as you run your career?
Yeah. Or you want to amass and accumulate money through compounding
Yes.
for a long period of time.
For a long period of time. Are you somebody who looks at long-term investment that you need to invest in assets?
Or
for
are
example,
you saving for your wedding in December?
those are choices
Yes.
you make. So that, the goal you look forward to achieve, the objective, why you need to make a certain investment will determine which kind of investment you're going to make.
Okay.
But also the risks that are involved in each and every investment. Most of the times, high risks investment lead to high returns.
High risk investments, potentially high risk investments,
yes,
they often lead to a potential high return on the investment.
To the investment.
So the bigger the size of the risk involved,
There
the
is a
higher
likelihood
the likelihood of a greater profit.
With a greater profit. So it also goes back to how prepared are you? How do you assess risk? So somebody can say, I cannot take this risk because there is also a likelihood that you may lose that.
Yes.
But in case you succeed, you will earn more. So those who think that if I lose this money, I may not have a starting point, I advise them to also take low risk investments.
Yeah.
Where you know that you will not invest so much, but some little will also be coming through.
Okay.
As you go, as you grow.
All right. So I really can see that financial education is very critical in the life of a young man, or even a young woman, or even their fathers and their mothers. Because all these things, one needs to learn them, to understand them. You've talked about things like earning, financial education on the aspect of earning income, on the aspect of budgeting, the aspect of saving, the aspect of spending, the aspect of investment, to mention but a few. So when you look at these things in the area of financial investment, what are some of the mistakes that most young men are making today?
Yeah, most of the mistakes we make as young people is generally not to take into consideration things that I've mentioned that matter.
Not paying attention to financial education.
Yes, not paying attention to financial education. Getting into markets without making adequate research and market surveys. Reaching out to potential successful businessmen to have that shared knowledge and experience on how far they have come from. That's quite important.
Yes.
We just reason tonight and we want to invest tomorrow. Then we also challenges of young people, is that they have a challenge of access to financing, which is a huge, huge challenge.
Yes.
Most of the young people have ideas, but those ideas are not, do not receive, do not entice financing.
Why don't they entice financing? Could it be that they are not well thought out, so that when they bring out the idea, maybe people don't see any big benefit in it? Because there are some other young people who have ideas, and when they bring them, those ideas attract funding. They attract venture capitalists and sponsors and donors and so on and so forth.
Yeah, of course, everything need deliberate action, but also learning.
Yeah.
You may have an idea, but it has to be polished. You know, you
where to package it.
You where to package it so that it is a good concept that if you put it out there, it speaks for itself. Somebody looks at this business idea as something that is really that has potential for growth.
Okay. So access to financing is one of the challenges.
One of the challenges. We have challenges with banks, for
example. But I think now that can qualify to only be a challenge, but not a mistake that young men are making. Maybe the mistake could be not packaging their ideas well enough to attract financing.
Yes, not packaging very well the ideas to get financing, not making adequate surveys in the markets they want to invest in.
Not going for financial mentors.
Not going for financial mentors.
Not paying attention to financial education.
Exactly. So those are the very key aspects. The moment you manage those very key important points, then there is success is
you haven't talked about also another mistake by these young men who spend the little money they have on they call them babies on babes, but these are not the babies that we have that are breastfed, but the babes that can eat your money because you are buying for them chicken, chips and chops and everything. The young man has a little money, but he even gets into debts in order to take out the girlfriend 1 million times every week.
Yeah, you're spot on. I am a young man, finished university. I'm into the working space and an investment space. That is the major challenge. That one, we want to live beyond our means as young people. And we even end up getting into debts to appease the so-called babies,
the girlfriends.
Yes, the juicy ladies on the streets. You want to take them to Cafe Javas. You want to, to potentially dress so well, to attract.
You want to hire a car to go and pick her.
You want to hire a car to pick, the lady, even when you don't afford it.
You go around swinging keys that are not yours.
So all those are mistakes that we make. And the moment,
young men, are you listening?
and the moment you get into that life, one, it is hard for you to realize that you're even doing wrong to yourself. Because there is the edge you reach up to that you cannot stand back. You're like, I lost all these years. You count how much money you spend partying, into bars drinking, into spending, into beach vacations and all that. We do them as young men. Instead, now you're like, how about if I invested this money? If there is a farm at home, up country, you get your 500. How many, for example, if you wanted to invest in poultry, if you wanted to invest in even farming, if you wanted to invest in goat rearing, if you had about 3 million, I can tell you there are young men out there that spend depending on their level of income. But a night they are spending about 2-3 million. They are doing some birthday parties, posh birthday parties.
I see a number of them around us.
Celebrating, this and that comes into their way. Spending money instead of investing. And that is something that we need to learn.
Okay. So big mistake there, living beyond their means.
Yeah, living beyond their means. That's a very, very big mistake. And the other mistake I can mention is that, when we get into that kind of life, there is that other peer. You end up, you feel good in that life. Then you end up abusing, for example, you end up now abusing alcohol, abusing drugs. And that abuse alone affects your health and also your future and also your pocket. I've ever had somebody who came out really open and said that they got addicted into smoking and their cigarette they were smoking costed them 700,000 and they could not do away with it.
that cigarette had to
Yes.
be bought at
700,000 per day, and they must spend it.
Where were they getting that money from? Curious, I want to know.
No, but this one was a very young musician. I will not mention their name. But
so maybe he was getting money from the concerts?
yeah, concerts
or
and
sale
other
of the
gigs
music
and other gigs.
And
Yeah.
then he spends the whole of it
Spends the whole of
in
it.
that big cigarette of 700,000.
And something, we all know one of our friend or your friend out there at university, at an institution, who, one, they had good money around themselves, but because of poor saving, budgeting, and financial discipline, they even never finished campus.
Okay.
They never graduated. Their dream,
Was shattered.
was cut short. So those simple mistakes, we may think they are simple. We are enjoying life at this age. We are pushed by our bodies to look good and feel nice about what is happening. You want to know each and every corner of this Kampala, the best club, the best restaurant. You're spending money. So financial discipline is very key. To know how much do you need to spend, how much you need to save.
Okay.
And by the way, when you have your money, you may enter in a restaurant, you call the waiter, say, for example, you want chicken. It is your money.
Yes.
And you realize that you're spending too much on this chicken. Let me take beans. You are free. It is your money.
Of course.
You call her and say, no, I will not take chicken. Bring beans. You realize that chicken was for 30,000, beans are for 15. You have saved 15,000.
And when will you now eat the chicken?
No, it is your money. It is your money. You can decide to starve today. Do you know, for example, when you go on these streets, I am told that these Indians, why they take so much of their food is chile.
Yes,
with hot
with
pepper.
A lot of pepper. Yes,
that they take little with chile, yes, but they take a lot of water. You get it? They take a lot of water, and by that, they are saving. They are taking a lot of water. They are being healthy. They are not, they are not dehydrated, but saving, investing. Make research. You may find all these people who are on the Kampala Road making businesses, Indians. We need to learn their culture.
Yeah, they are. I one time walked there looking at each shop.
Yes.
Many of them are indeed people from India.
Yes. Two, they don't live a posh, they are not living in heavy mansions. Young men, you are into employment. First thing you want to go upscale, Nigeria.
Yeah.
You want to get a full house. You get it? You need to, you quickly want to invest in cars.
4 bedrooms when you are staying there alone.
When you're staying alone, you're spending about 1.2, 1.5 monthly on rent. You're spending, you're buying a car which is in itself a consumer of your money.
Of course, it's a liability.
It's a liability
and you're proud, you think it's an asset.
Before you know it, down the road, you're not making any progress, but you're living a good life.
You even get a terrible accident and you lose the whole car.
So, for me, the decisions we make at our young age matter.
Okay.
Where do you invest? What do you invest in? What is the return on investment?
All right.
The moment you understand those, then because the moment now you have that, you have a goal, you have an objective to achieve, you have assessed the risk, you have understood the market environment, you have measured the fees and possible costs involved for you to invest, then it will, in itself, it will put you to line for financial discipline.
All right, thank you very much. So before we take a break, we are going to be taking a break in the next about 2 minutes. But before we take the break, I would like you to go right ahead. You've talked about savings. You've used that word very many times ever since we began about 30 minutes ago. Now, developing the habit of savings. How can a young man develop this habit of savings when he has very little income? Very little income, little money in the pocket, and then you are telling him to save, even when his own needs are not yet met at all. So how can a young man practically develop the habit of savings when he has little income. Then after that, we will take a break.
Yes, saving is a deliberate thing. You must be deliberate to ensure that for whichever money you receive, a given percentage is not spent.
Whether you have paid all your bills or not.
Or
yet.
not. You can, for example, decide that if you whenever you receive a salary, you know that 30% of that salary is my saving. And I will have to hustle to see. Because if you're saving that, it means the 70% you have to know. Now you will have to live within the means of the 70%.
Yes. You assume, you remove the 30% and assume that you only received the 70%.
And I want to tell you, Sam, when you're talking about saving, you see, if you're on a job and you're earning 2 million,
yes,
and another person is earning 7 million, before you know it, you may think that your problem is how much you earn. The problem is not how much you earn.
Yes.
The problem is how much you spend what you earn.
Okay, so if I'm to put it another way, but the same thing, it's not so much about how much you receive in your life, but what you do with whichever amount of money you get.
Exactly. Because I may be receiving 1 million, okay?
Yes.
If you're receiving 1 million net on your account monthly.
Yes.
As a young man, thinking there are people who will say, when you're receiving 1 million, where are you living? Probably you're renting some, in some place where a good room at 150,000. You near your workplace. Hopefully. And you're not spending so much. You are going to a restaurant where the most expensive food is 8,000.
Okay.
You're using a boda. The day
not hiring
an Uber or into car hire.
But I think even a boda can be more expensive than an Uber.
Well. Or you're using public transport. So you may find your expenditure is roughly about 600,000. You're saving 400,000. You talk of airtime in a month. Now, and you're praying to get a job of 2 million or 3 million.
Yes.
If you get a job of 3 million, you may be tempted now to live where you're paying 150 or 200 for rent, and now you want to upgrade a bit. You
even upgrade the girlfriend, I'm told.
You even upgrade the girlfriend, the expenditure and all that. So you may find that now you are into living where you're paying 750 per month. Rent.
Yet you were paying 150.
150, 200.
Salary increase.
Yes. And now lunch changes. You no longer go to the Kafunda of 5,000, 8,000. You want now to upscale to where food is flat, buffet, 20,000, 30,000.
A better life.
Well,
today.
There is always when you're saying a better life without investment cannot, because it is not sustainable.
So you either pay the price today and play tomorrow, or play today with your money and you will pay the price tomorrow.
Exactly.
Delayed gratification.
Exactly.
So delayed gratification is one of those ways how a young man can develop the savings habit. You have also talked about being deliberate and putting aside a certain percentage.
Yes, a certain percentage. It is just having discipline.
Yes.
Yeah, knowing that I will get there one day. But also throwing a vision. You cast a vision of how do you want to live?
Okay.
10 years, 15 years, or 5 years from now. Who do you want to be? Who will be Agaba?
When you ask a young man that question, many of them will say, I just want to be a great man.
You get
without being particular and specific.
How will your financial statement look like?
Do they even know how to read a financial statement in the first place before you ask them how they want it to look like?
No, they may answer it casually, but somebody can say, my financial statement should look like this, and probably it may not be the right, answer. But for them, they think of money.
Yes.
But where will that money come from?
All right.
Because money today you have it, money tomorrow you don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Nelson, and thank you very much, our viewers who are tuned in to Church of Uganda Family TV, the Inspired Family Leader program, as we talk about these important financial investment tips, particularly for young men. And now we have looked at the mistakes young men make, not paying attention to financial education, ignoring the market survey before they plunge into any investment, not having financial mentors, not going for people that can help them to get better in their financial decisions, and also not packaging your investment ideas well enough to attract funding and financing, living beyond your means and having financial indiscipline, using the money you do not have to buy the things you do not need, to impress the people that do not even care. And we have seen that you can change your life and start to save. And with saving, you need delayed gratification, you need a life of discipline, and you need to be deliberate. So we are going to take a very brief break. And when we come back, we will look at how do you reduce your expenditure as a young man when you have very many financial pressures. We will also look at the investment avenues and opportunities that are available in Uganda and any other place for the young men to exploit. We will also get to know the avenues where you can go to in order to learn all these financial concepts. Don't go away. Live, love, and lead. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. This is the Inspired Family Leader program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker, and author of 17 books, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, and the Fathers Union Provincial President in Uganda. Today, we are talking about the financial investment tips for young men. And in studio with me is Nelson Agaba, who is sharing with us from his own life experience as a young man, speaking into the life of the young men out there, and their fathers and their mothers who are watching together with them. When we took a break, we had looked at the mistakes that many young men make in the area of financial investment. And we also looked at how a young man can develop the habit of savings even when he has little income. And now, Nelson, I would like us to take us further. How can a young man reduce his expenditure? Because that's one thing that is coming through our conversation, that if you are to make financial steps forward as a young man, you need to tame your expenditure. And taming that expenditure partly means that you reduce it where you've been spending unnecessarily. But here the challenge is that many young people have very many financial pressures around them. So, if you have a young man who has all these pressures, how can they practically be able to reduce their expenditure?
Number one, as you plan to reduce your expenditure, you first do a trace back.
A trace back. What's that?
Analyze your spending pattern. How have you been spending? And the moment you look at what are those important things that have been spending at, and what are unnecessary things that have been spending. You're analyzing your spending.
Where is your money? Where is your money going? Where has your money been going?
Yes, you analyze your spending pattern. You track back. You're like, how have I been spending?
Yes.
Where does my money go? And then you also analyze and see where can you cut spending. Where what can you avoid? Because the moment before you do anything, you analyze your spending habit or discipline or your spending pattern. How has it been? Then two.
But how do you even know where your money has been going to and your spending pattern if you've not been taking record of your financial transactions? You don't know how much you got from where, and you don't even know where your money went to. Yes, I see many young people asking, but where did my money go to? And I'm wondering, who spends it with you? You're the one who spends your money, but you have no record whatsoever. You don't know how much you spent on water. You don't know how much you spent on clothes. You don't know how much you spent on transport. You don't know how much you spent on airtime. You don't know how much you spent on eating. You don't know how much you spent on... You don't. So now, how do you even start to analyze your spending patterns? I think it begins with...
Number one, it is recording your savings
Yeah.
and your expenditures.
Yes.
Record them.
Your financial transactions. Following them
Yes.
over a period of time,
Yes.
maybe 2 months or 3 months.
Or even a week. You can
Even a
even
week.
analyze. You are like, how did I spend this week?
Yes.
You make a review. Well, why did I even spend on this one?
Or how did I spend this amount?
How did I spend this much?
Okay.
Where did it go?
Analyze your spending patterns.
Yes.
And find areas where you can reduce.
Exactly. Then after that, now, after analyzing, you have to you give priorities to expenditure. Where should my money go?
Determine your financial priorities.
Yes. You define. You know that these are the essentials.
Yes.
That I have. They must do. They must have. They must be. They must items that you must spend on.
Yes.
Now, after analyzing those ones, for example, you need to spend on rent, you need to spend on transport. Those are the must-do things.
Those basic
which
necessities.
the basic necessities. As a young man, look at the basics that you can, you need, not the extravagant.
Just a good functional shoe.
Yes.
Not the international shoe.
Exactly. Then also, you may analyze that. After analyzing how you have been spending, it may make you even realize that, where was I getting this shirt? I got it at Kampala Road.
Can I go downtown?
At 160,000.
Yes.
But downtown, you can
It is
get
at 50.
It is at 50.
Even 30.
Or even 30.
They go
Same
downtown,
shirt.
pick the shirt at 30,000, come and go to Kampala Road, package it differently,
Yes.
put some label or something like that, and sell it at ×5.
Not even a label. A Kavana shirt is a Kavana shirt.
Laziness of not wanting to go downtown to
Go
shop for
downtown.
yourself.
So now you start, and that is the ability now to negotiate bills.
The suit that is at 170,000 downtown,
Yes.
you find it at 700,000 on Kampala
Exactly.
Road.
So now you learn to negotiate. They say you get what you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for.
Yes, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you bargain for.
Yes. So the bargain, you know that I need now to start negotiating.
Yes.
You negotiate your bills. You negotiate. You know that on this bill, the following day I need to know because negotiating bills, it makes you realize where can I get it at a cheaper price.
Yes. Without compromising the quality.
Yeah, without compromising.
Because
the
that's
quality.
another issue. You
Yes.
say you want to cut costs and you want to buy one that is, cheaper, but in essence, you're buying something. Maybe if we are talking about a shirt, for example, you are buying a shirt that you're going to put on for 1 week, and after that it is all threads, you go again to buy.
Yeah, I understand.
So we are talking of reducing the cost,
Yes.
but without compromising the quality.
But also when you're negotiating the bills, you're looking, when you analyze where your money has been going. For example, the young man, if it is on a bad rainy day, it is okay. Use an Uber. Go to work.
Yes.
Because you need to reach there in time.
Use a taxi.
Use a taxi if, it is accessible where you
Public vehicle.
Yes, public vehicle. So, but in a normal day, use a quick border.
Yes.
To spend less, but also spend short time to reach where you're supposed to go.
Okay.
So those are things that you need to look at. Then you're looking at how have you been spending on meals? Expenditure. You just analyze. After analyzing, then you're thinking of how do I reduce that expenditure? How do I make changes?
Talking of the meals, I think one thing that has often helped many people to reduce on the expenditure is bulk purchasing. When you have the money,
Yes.
do bulk purchasing instead of every morning you're buying a tomato to prepare breakfast.
Exactly.
Then in the evening when you come, you buy an onion. Maybe you could do some bulk purchasing of things that
Yes,
do not
from
go bad.
markets, from public
Are not
markets,
perishable, yes.
not from stores,
Not from the supermarket.
not from the supermarket.
Buying onions from a supermarket.
Then,
Young man.
Yes, you're a young man. You're competing with a permanent secretary. To queue.
So these are
to buy
critical
cabbage
things really,
from a
Nelson.
supermarket.
So if we are to reduce expenditure, young men, if you are to reduce expenditure, even when you have many financial pressures, think of these things that Nelson has just talked about. Start to have financial records to begin with. Analyze your spending patterns. Find the areas where it's possible for you to cut your expenditure. determine your financial priorities, what you're going to be spending on going forward, learn to negotiate and bargain, and in the meantime, do bulk purchasing.
Learn to cook as a young man. Don't
and learn to cook
yes,
as a young man.
Learn to prepare some breakfast.
Not always being in the restaurant.
Not being, you know, always being in a restaurant.
I think I'm getting an idea. I think we need to have some program where we are teaching young men how to cook.
Yeah, sure. So for me, those are very key. The moment you analyze that, then it makes you now realize your mistakes.
Okay.
How your money has been going, what has been taking your money, and how you can improve. If it is about, you know, if it is about power, I was talking about, you know.
Do you mean electricity?
Yes, electricity. How do you save on bills? Do you need to light the whole house?
Do you need all those gadgets in the house that are taking your electricity?
Yes. So those are important things. That
you leave the security light on during the day as you go to work.
So those are simple habits that even not only young men.
Yes, of course.
Even you know, people in found families.
You put the flat iron and you into the socket, switch it on, and then leave it for 10 minutes.
You want to iron everything you have washed today, and when you are also going to put it on, you iron it again.
Ah, wow, interesting decisions.
So those are things that you save on energy. You need to save.
You boil the water.
Yes. Save on your
and then you don't use it. You come back, boil it afresh, and then go and be on WhatsApp. Then it cools down. You come back and boil it again. You boil it 3 times before you take your small cup of tea.
You are pitching your pocket.
You don't know you are burning your money. Now, Nelson, I see we just have about 6 minutes to end the program. What are some of the investment avenues or the investment opportunities that are available that young men can utilize going forward? Where can they put their money to multiply it?
Yes, number one, as a country, we all know that our backbone is agriculture. And as young men, we need to interest ourselves on how to modernize this agriculture.
They say they don't want to touch soil.
There is huge potential in agriculture. There is huge potential in agriculture. Because provided you have access to land, or and agriculture is diverse.
Yes.
There is poultry,
yes,
you know, which you need not to have hectares of land. You just need a few squares of piece of land, even in town here, and you start poultry.
Yes.
Goat rearing and
even urban farming around the house.
Urban farming.
You put sacks and tins all around you and the compound, the small place where you live, and you put onions, you put tomatoes, you put lemongrass, and you end up not buying those, and that money is saved.
You are also saving. You are also saving.
Yes.
So agriculture, depending on how much money you have and how much access you have to land, it is a huge potential to be exploited. You know,
and maybe not just land, by the way, but participating in the whole agricultural value chain.
There is you
may not be the one who is digging and putting the seeds in the ground, but you could be the one who is buying the seeds and storing them very well, preserving them, and selling them later at a higher price.
Exactly.
Still you are in agriculture.
Still you are in agriculture.
You could be the one who is making that flat bread, chapati. Still you are somehow in agriculture.
You know, and agriculture is broad because there is also processing within agriculture, food processing.
Yes.
You may decide to say, I may not have time to go into the soil. You don't want to touch the soil as a graduate. But you can potentially position yourself at a given, at a chain.
That's one point of the value chain.
Yes, of the value chain. And probably there are avocados, for example. There are so much, you know, plenty of avocados up country. How do you now have an avocado store in town?
Okay, so agriculture is number one.
Agriculture,
for investment.
Yes, that is agriculture. Two, you know, with this era of technology, we need to look at information and communication to take advantage
ICT.
of the ICT. There is so much you can do with ICT. Young men can, you know, you can even learn so much on app development. Develop apps. People want apps.
Yes.
You hear about Safe Border app. You hear about this app. You hear
So
about
much.
health. Is it this one in health? Is it Rocket?
Yeah.
Rocket Health.
Rocket Health, I think.
You get it. Those are apps. App development. Let young people, even if you do not have a skill in IT, can you partner with an ICT person if you have some money and try to bring, you know, a certain business plan together?
Yes.
You know, So website development, designing, software, develop some software and sell them. You may not only, so all
Bulk
that.
SMSs.
Yes, invest in doing things.
Secretarial services. Graphic designing.
Graphic designing and all
Internet
that.
cafe.
That is all around ICT.
ICT,
You can
yes.
invest as a young man and have some money.
Yes.
This country is also one of the blessed tourism destination places, in the global south.
Yes.
How do you position yourself within the tourism industry
When you don't have much money.
when you don't have much money? And it goes back to the culture. We need to think about
Can
culture.
you be a tour guide?
Can you be a tour guide? Can you, with tourism, you form an agency, because tourism, you're using people. For example, tourism is run on trust and good financial management.
Yes.
Because you create a website.
customer service.
Yes, good customer service. You create an agency where you have a good website, good things about marketing and branding. Brand yourself. Somebody logs in, knows about you, reads about your history, track record of how you have been, treating other tourists. They send money in advance.
Yeah.
Book for them hotels. Book for them destination places, Mwea Safari Lodges and, Lake Mburo, and these are the national parks.
Okay.
Create, see how to position yourself in the tourism sector.
All right.
If not, see how you, the hotels, how do you, if you are into somebody who is into hotels, how do you start small,
Yes.
with hospitality programs? Into tourism. People who are into creativity and art, entertainment.
Creative arts.
How do you position yourself to earn from tourism?
And how do you earn as an MC? Creative arts. How do you
Yes.
earn as an MC instead of always, doing MCing for free as a young man?
As a young man.
Why don't you put a charge now?
How do you promote talent of those young men and women in ghetto, who have good entertainment, and develop it around culture
All
and
right.
position yourself to giving entertainment to tourists
Quite a lot.
in tourism. Then the other thing, we are all, we need to fight climate change. And there is also a huge potential. As a young man, how do you position yourself? Have a good business plan that will even attract funding, provided it is within the fight against, climate change. Yes. For example, biogas. You can invest in doing biogas.
That sounds like
Renewable
it's complicated
energy.
and needs a lot of money that a young man may not have.
Simple training from people with skill. It doesn't require so much money, because doing biogas is something that like biogas, people buy solars every day.
Yeah.
But you may find on the entire village, nobody knows how to install a solar panel.
Yeah. Okay. So skills.
Yes,
that
skill
can be
development,
used
yes,
And
so-
paid for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Many things.
So-
really,
so-
we
so-
really have a lot that we can share here.
Yes.
But time is not our good ally. Maybe let me say, if somebody is going to learn all these things, to continue to learn, about these financial concepts, about investment opportunities, about how to tame their expenditure, how to increase their savings, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Where can that young man go to continue learning going forward as we end the program?
Well, one, depending on which area of interest you are in. The first and foremost thing is reach out. We talked about mentors. Reach out to people that have have had a success business story.
Yes.
And learn from them, because business, there is so much lessons around business.
Okay, so reach out to mentors.
Yes, reach out to mentors. Reach out to professional business advisors. You may
Those ones ask a lot of money
No.
that we can't manage. They are consultants.
You see, the challenge that happens, people become stingy with their 500,000
Yes.
to invest in a days or a week's program to learn. And they go invest 10 million, they lose it in a day.
Because they did not have the right knowledge
Yes.
to put in that investment and be safer.
Just 500,000 that
Yeah.
would save a 20 million or 10 million or 5 million business.
Yeah, they bring a book on stress management. It is 20,000 shillings.
Yes.
You say it's expensive. You don't read it. You fail to know how to manage your activities,
Exactly.
your programs, your stress, your fatigue. You get depressed. You go to the National Referral Hospital.
Yes.
You are put on the bed rest for I don't know how many months, and then you end up paying 5 million. Yet you could have paid 20,000.
And that takes us to, we need to cultivate a reading culture.
So, also reading books.
Yes. Which books do you want to
Good
read?
books, yes.
You know, reach out and know. You know, I have one of your books here.
Yes, yes.
You know, ability to produce
Ability to
wealth.
produce wealth, yes.
You know, you
Came
have a
out
new
last year.
baby on the block.
This one came out this week.
I'll also be
Blossom in your job and business.
I'll also be able to get one, you know, as I leave this studio, so that we read and learn. Because
All right.
reading alone gives you much potential to understand things.
Look
that you
into
don't know.
that camera and give your final message to the young men, particularly who are about to get married, in relationship with today's topic. As your parting shot.
That's a heavy one. That's where I am, and that's my area, fellow young men, and also women out there, because this message also is also in a two-way. But know what you want as you're getting into that relationship. Don't compromise. If you know these are the non-compromising
The
things,
non-negotiables.
non-negotiable issues you want as a young man, please list them and know that. Don't waste your time. Don't go into unhealthy relationships that are out there and you're chasing each and everybody out there. No, know what you want. Stick to one. Try it. If it fails, know that you have given it all it deserves.
That's why you need to read Fresh Apples for single people. And save yourself the headache.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, for listening in, for paying attention, and for learning together with us as we were having this important conversation, specifically to help that young man, probably who is not yet married, or maybe is about to get married, or he's been married for the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, a young married man. Today's program was particularly dedicated to those young men. Because, as I said at the beginning, it is better and it is easier to mentor a young man than to wait later and mend a broken man. So instead of waiting for the family men to be in their families and struggle with finances, why not now address the young men and help them to come up as quickly as possible, so that by the time they go and launch their manifesto and propose to somebody's daughter and produce children and have a family, they are already having the wherewithal. They already have the means to become great and awesome providers. This has been the Inspired Family Leader program with Samuel A. Bakotana. Until next time, live, love, and lead. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. God bless you.